Happy Monday. What's happening? What's happening? Wanted to get on in real quick and share some things with y'all. About being a creator, right? Right. One thing that I have been enjoying as it relates to this new basically podcast, right? Because that's what it's becoming, another podcast. Or this spin-off of Insights to Strength is that as not, and I'm not saying this as though I have not already been, but you all get to see a different side of me, right? The goofy side, not necessarily so serious or deep or whatever it is, right? I have many facets to me, and this is one of them. Dear Creator allows me to truly just be myself in all the things. Okay, you're going to see me laugh a lot more or hear me laugh a lot more if you're just on the audio side of things. But if you again are have been participating with us online, you know that you get visuals as well. So thank you for rocking with us. So this is what I wanted to share today is I want you all to envision your own success and not by the standards of others. And here is why. Because, well, here's how you do that, right? I want number one to figure out your learning intentions. Okay. And number two, define your own success criteria. So how do I go about doing that? Well, one, if you figure out your learning intentions, like basically these are your goals, what are you setting out to do, right? This will help you to pinpoint what it is that you intend to learn and or gain. That's what your learning intention is, right? As an educator, we actually utilize this in the classroom or the educational sector, because when you create your lesson plans, those are your intents, right? So figure out your learning intentions. And this is for those who are, business owners. This is normally identified as your why, right? The thing you go back to, like, why am I doing this? When you begin to struggle, why am I doing this? When you feel like you've lost your way or you're not you're not going after what it is that you said you wanted to do, or you lose sight of that. This is your why. It becomes your why. So state your learning intentions. Set your goals by this very same thing, right? Every time, I'm not going to go there yet, but now, after you set your goals, ask yourself, now, what steps am I going to take in order for me to get there? Okay, so that's number one. Figure out your learning intentions. Number two, define your success criteria. Okay, you will become more successful. This is how you identify, all right, what your criteria is. So you will know that you have become or that you are becoming successful with your intent when you see what. For me, I knew that I was becoming more successful when I started actually realizing that other regions were tuning in to the podcast. That's not something I factored in when I decided to make a podcast. I promise you I didn't. I didn't even consider other states and such. But what I did do is I prayed over it, over every episode. Every time I put something out, that was my thing. Like, Lord, let this reach the person or the persons, the people that is supposed to reach. Right? I knew that I was becoming more successful when other people decided that they wanted to, again, support and aid me in my venture. Right? They started, hey cousin, or hey friend, I got a podcast mic and I want to give that to you, or I want to bless you with another podcast mic, things of that nature. Or people say, hey, I do have this skill set, and I would love to do your flyers and your marketing stuff or whatever, like your graphics for you. What? Go ahead, have at it. Those were things that kind of kept me pushing and kept going. Or to hear, someone whom I look up to dearly, say, hey, I shared it on Twitter and this. I'm like, what, you did? Yeah, all my friends are sharing it, and such said to keep going, right? Keep going. And I'm just like, that's how I knew I was becoming successful. And then another way I knew or was able to define my success, again, it wasn't really what other people was doing, but it was the outcomes that I weren't expecting to be, right? initially I set out to only reach women, where in the audio sector, or the podcasting side, I found that majority of my listeners were men, and men that were, older, or older than I, a lot of them, right, and approaching in their like late 40s and 50s and upward, right, in some of those different demographics. But my or then when I was reaching younger individuals who were like that 18 to 24 stage, I was like, this is a range, right? This is a range. And so on the audio side, I found that I reach more men in that regard. On the uh, visual side, right, if we're talking Facebook, Instagrams, and things of that nature, I noticed that that's where my women audience was. And I was neglecting them. That's what I set out to reach. I didn't know that you all prefer the visual. Now I do. Okay. So you will become successful, or you will know that you are successful with your intent when you see what? Ask yourself, right? This is so, or when you see that these steps that you chose in part one, right? When you began to figure out your learning intentions, you knew that you were successful when you started seeing those steps accomplished, right? Good for you. Congratulations. Congratulations. Now you keep pressing, keep going. Okay. So, um, that's just a piece of the encouragement. Now, on the other side, let's go way before I even start doing or thinking about podcasting, right? When I was in my early 20s, I remember being in a therapy session, and my counselor asked me, what does success look like to you? And I remember my response being that I am success. Success for me had to be built by my own standards. It's, it's how I live my life. Now, I have accountability partners and people that I look up to. And so I'm just not out here, bang, out here. I'm not just out here, right? But I I understood that for a long time, or especially around that time, that I started to accept that I walked to the beats of my own drum. I marched to that joint, right? I remember being in groupings or surroundings where other people who seemed to have been popular, whatever. I always was the oddball out. I was corny. I was non-conforming. I could be weird sometimes, right? Not like awkwardly weird or disgustingly weird or anything. Like, I just appeared to be off. I knew. And that was more so a me thing, right? I felt off in those groupings. And so, what I later found out is that those people who consider themselves to be weird or whatever it is, the Bible calls you peculiar. I was just being peculiar. So when others were leading and they were talking, I was the one that was observing what it was that they were saying, and in their body language and their character. I was watching what they were saying in their mannerisms, all the things. Like, I, nah, right? But while I was in college, I was still doing the same things, but it was like, I kind of took it up a notch. Not intentionally, it was just something I knew that I was doing, or I realized that I was doing, right? But I could identify a person's insecurities, and they never had to open their mouth to tell it to me. And because it would show in their mannerisms. I don't now, and I didn't then follow fads and trends, because fads are just fleeting and desirable distractions. Because they are fleeting, they come and they go, right? And I knew that anytime I tried being someone other than myself, it just didn't work. Or if I even attempted to, let's say, you know what, I like that about them, so I'm going to learn how they do it and attach it to my personality because I thought it was cool, I felt inadequate because I wasn't being me, right? It wasn't authentic. That's all I'm trying to say. And so as a result, I blossomed at being a nobody. We're talking about your learning intentions and your success intentions. How do you know that you have reached your goal or that you are successful? I'm saying to y'all, you have to identify who it is that you are. When you learn you, my sister friend has meetings, and or she's actually now, I believe she's teaching workshops and classes where she always encourages other people. She doesn't care who you are. She rock with everybody, right? Unless you rub her wrong or your spirit is off to her, right? She will rock with you, but she's always encouraging other people to just tap into themselves, right? So I'm telling you to tap into yourself, because again, I blossomed at being a nobody. And how did I know that? um I realized early on that I didn't have to be the one who had all the answers. Mm-mm. We don't even like those people for real, right? I didn't have to always have an opinion, and even when I did, I knew that I didn't have to share it. I didn't always have to share it, right? Um, because I knew, this is again when I started paying attention, not necessarily to other people's responses, but I would, in my uncomfortability, I could feel or understand that when I did speak, people were like, "Listen, why? Because she doesn't always talk. So what does she have to say now? Like, what about this conversation or this idea or thing is making that particular person chime in?" I began to understand that my words had value. Right? People knew how I carried myself or carried myself. Right? So I didn't always have to speak because they knew what I stood for. Okay. And so again, when I did choose to speak, people listened. To God be the glory. Their attention showed that my peers, and even my educators knew that when I spoke, it would be something meaningful, that it would have some weight to it. I'm not just shooting out the side of my neck. I became intentional about wasting my words. I don't do that, right? I have fun, and I kick it, and I lean back or whatever, but life and death, life and death, right? So, as a creator, it is important to know your intended audience. I know that a lot of my audiences, they create, they are entrepreneurs, they are businessmen and women, they are nurses, they are teachers, yada yada shaya. And guess what? I am. Outside of my day job, I'm literally always teaching something. I can find a teachable moment in almost anything. Right? To God be the glory. That's a strong gift of mine. And I didn't always realize that, but when I did realize it, it was a little easier to take advantage of it, right? And take advantage in like this sector, like teach other people. One of my favorite quotes, thank you, Lord, is I accredit it to Vivian Baxter, right? But other people will credit to Maya Angelou because that's who they heard say it. But the quote goes this way: when you get, give, and when you learn, teach. That's me in a nutshell. I am both a giver and a teacher. Okay. So again, as a creator, it's important for you to know who your intended audience is, because they will appreciate your work and they will share it with other people. What? Mind blown. Mic drop. I'm gonna get some sounds for that, okay? Uh, but yeah, so often we become frustrated, like, and I've seen it, on Facebook. I've seen it, really mainly on Facebook, about people complaining, or becoming frustrated when their family and their friends don't support them, their endeavor, or this new endeavor, because maybe they are so ambitious that they have multiple skill sets and they want to stretch it out and try all the things. But dear heart, have you ever stopped to think that they don't support you because that's not your audience? Or maybe their means of supporting what it is that you do comes in the form of a share button, mm, right? Or maybe it came in a sense of a referral. That's support, honey, dear heart. They might not always say it, or they may not always encourage you. That's why you got to know your own whys. My second why, and it's not in this order, right? It's because yes, I was called to it, but I understand that whatever I do, I must do it so that God gets the glory. If period. Okay. So don't get caught up in the hype, dear hearts. Humility has many variations. So check your motives and ask yourself again, why? Why are you doing this? Why? And then when you allow yourself to answer that, and then ask yourself why again, right? When you get the answer, ask why is that the answer. So okay, I'm having you digging deep, right? Just a little bit for the sake of this, okay? Sorry if you guys are picking up all the noise. I am not mic'd up right now, and that may very well, these sounds may very well come through. I'm so sorry. um but I'm almost done. So then after doing all those, asking yourself why and all that, if you don't get caught up in the hype, making sure that you check your motives, I want you to stick with your plan long enough to notice what is working, and that takes time. Oh, sugar pie, honey bun. It takes time, okay? I love podcasting because I don't like being on camera. However, again, I learned my effectiveness is better received when I show my face. Isn't that interesting? That's I don't care to do it, but you love me. I love y'all back. But I want to make sure that I'm serving everyone. Okay. And so when you realize what works, excuse me, and what does not work, you would adjust. You adjust accordingly, right? You have that when you're doing that adjustment, you go back to your learning intentions and defining your success criteria by those things. Adjustment is okay. It's okay to adjust. That means you're growing. You're growing, and even if it's not a physical growth that you can see, you're growing. Uh, right? And that gives you a different drive. I mean, at least for me, for sure it does. Right? So, oh yeah, when you realize what works, like I said, adjust accordingly. And the vision was given to you, honey. You know you want it to look like. You know what it needs, in order for it to flow accordingly and all the things. It's okay that excuse me, when you need help, and then go and ask for it. Go and ask for the help you need. When Facebook first started out, I understood it to be a way for college students to actually connect with their family and friends back home, because we didn't have all this other stuff. And that was, it seems so long ago, but it's all still so recent, right? They've Mark Zuckerberg and all of them have had to adjust and adjust again and adjust again, and then they stuck with it. And now they know, you know what? Some of our audience only like uploading pictures. They don't care to read the statuses, nothing or anything like that. Let's go ahead and create Instagram. And you know what? They don't like uploading the pictures or anything like that either. We have Twitter for those who just want to say what they want to say and be done. All of that ran by the same people. Now tell me. Come on now. Can't tell me. Know when you need help, ask for it, adjust accordingly, okay? This is not last and it's not least, but it's coming to my closing, right? Seek God. Seek God. Seek God. Seek God. Seek God and seek God. I promise you, he's gonna help you with your vision, and then he's gonna show you the things that you didn't even ask for. Pouring out blessings that you didn't have room enough to receive, dear heart. Say what? Yep. Seek God. Be confident in whatever it is that you are producing. Erica Badu. I gotta put it out there. Erica Badu, when she was performing her song Tyrone, right? said in front of the live audience, listen, this is a new song. I like it, I love it, and we're going to present it to you today. But just know, keep in mind that I am an artist and I am sensitive about my stuff. Okay, is what she said and didn't say. Y'all, if you know Erica Badu, you got the real language. But I'm telling you, she said I'm sensitive about my stuff. And so there is a level of vulnerability. There are levels, not just a level, but there are levels of vulnerability that come with producing or showing off your craft. Because we know and understand everybody's not gonna like it. But everybody is not your cup of tea. Think about the people that's not your cup of tea, dear heart. Okay? Come through. I want you to execute what it is you see to the best of your ability and trust it. Honey, if they didn't catch on in the beginning, it's okay. Because when they do catch on, I'm glad you caught on. Glorify his name. Yes. Hallelujah. So if what started as an idea is now on paper, being executed, and it has legs or extensions of itself, honey, you are successful. You are successful because it's not just an idea anymore. What? Yes, it's not just an idea. It is manifesting. It is here. It is present. You can see it, feel it, taste it, touch it. Okay? It is here. That's a blessing. That's a blessing. What you only thought, that was only in your head between you and God and those you vocally shared it with. But now my vision or my thought isn't just a thought anymore. It's here. It is here. Blake. So I read it the other day or seen it the other day. So what if what you're doing seems oversaturated? Do it anyway. Huh? Your personal spin on a thing can never be duplicated by somebody else because your fingerprint is on it. Okay? So be confident and create with intention. As always, keep praying, keep pressing, and stand tall. Child, see you later. Arrivederci, hasta luego, buenas noches, buenos dias. If you're looking at this in the morning, hasta luego, hasta mañana, whatever, right? Au revoir. Those are all the languages I know, at least on a basic level. I'm learning more. But anywho, I will talk to you all later. It was great hanging with you all today. I love y'all. Peace out. Hey, Seekers. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this episode and you like to help support the podcast, please share it with others, post about it on social media, or leave a rating and review. You could even send a voicemail by clicking the link in our show notes. To catch all the latest from us, you can follow us on Instagram and on Facebook at Insights to Strength. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.